You ever wonder why Dr. Wu didn't tell us what this thing was made out of? Weapons is made out of raptors. What would that matter? Maybe they'll try to communicate with each other. That's what you're worried about? It's like some guy speaking Japanese trying to come up to me and have a conversation. Konnichiwa. What did you just say to me? I think it called you something.
I think it called your mom something. That's unacceptable. Let's get him, girls.
Gomedasai! Gomedasai!
Die!
Hey guys, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve, and today we're going over the Jurassic World Velociraptor 4-pack with Charlie, Echo, Delta, and Blue. This is what I believe a Target exclusive, so if you guys, after this review, want to go pick up this 4-pack, definitely recommend going to check out Target. Been to a few Targets now, and I've seen this set pretty much all over the place in there, so it's not really that hard to find as of right now. And buying this 4-pack is actually cheaper than buying these guys individually, but then again, these figures are slightly different than the individual ones, which, after looking at them a little bit better now, I'll go over that after I get these guys out of the review, because they have their own little light-up gimmick and whatnot. And also, I had a few people ask me if I went and saw Jurassic World. Yes, I did. Love the movie. Some of these story elements in the movie kind of threw me off a little bit, but for the most part, still really like the story, like the acting. Dinosaurs were fantastic. And actually, the last part of the film, or more towards the ending, had me going from rolling my eyes to clapping in my seats. So if you guys have seen the film, definitely know what I'm talking about. So overall, really like the film, and can't wait to get into these figures. So without further ado, for the packaging, it's freaking huge. But it's kind of nice to actually get to see the Velociraptors inside of the packaging. There's no real plastic going on, so you can actually touch the toys from inside of the packaging, which actually get me a little worried because that JW pops out of there pretty easily, the little light up gimmick right there. But for the most part, it has the Raptors on the bottom here, T-Rex at the top. Not a hell of a lot going on the sides here, except you get to see the Indominus Rex skin on the packaging. And then for the back of the packaging, it just gives you another profile shot of the Velociraptors inside of the packaging. Just tells you again about the gimmick, and also gives you a little bit of description about the dinos. And if you guys want to read it real quick, I'll let you. Alright, we good? Alright. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's get these guys open up out of the cardboard prisons. Alright, so now that we have these ladies open up out of their cardboard prison, the first thing I want to go over is Gimmick, but I will mention that these two on the end, which is Blue and Echo, are actually the exact same mold, which, to be honest, is a wee bit of a bummer, especially after getting these out of their pack, because the slightest nudge knocks these guys over, because they don't stand up very well by themselves. But trying to pose them stay. What kind of sucks is when you get in like this 4-pack here, two of the figures are literally the exact same other than the paint details, which isn't quite that big of a deal because it's not like I haven't seen like something like this before. But it's just a little bit of a bummer because, especially with all four, you'd like to have a little bit of variety with the Raptors. But sadly you don't, other than the two in the back are both actual separate molds, which we'll go over how they look in just a second. But first, I actually want to go over their little gimmick, which what you get is this Jurassic World light, which what you do is you push down on the JW here, which turns on the little light on the bottom. Which what this does is when you push down on the button and start illuminating the back of Blue here, you notice that she has this new little pattern that shows up, which is actually kind of cool because when you turn it off, see the normal Raptor pattern, then once you push it in, get the nice little bioluminescent thing going on here, which is kind of neat. It's more neat for a collector standpoint because you can be like, oh, hey, look, when I turn the lights, bam! You can maybe set this up on your display case or whatnot for this to actually happen. For a kid, though, I don't really think this is quite as cool of a gimmick as, say, when you buy these things individually. They actually come with the Raptor Roar, where you push the button and it actually does the kind of sound, which, personally for me, I think is actually a cooler gimmick. The only thing that kind of sucks is they have more battle damage on those figures, so granted this figure looks a little bit cleaner, but I think the gimmick works a little bit more individually. But what actually sucks about this gimmick, as you can see here, works really well on Blue. But when you take the light to the other Raptors from the set, as you can see, there is no illumination whatsoever, which is a wee bit of a bummer, and by wee bit I mean actually a lot of a bummer. Like, even grabbing Echo here, which is literally the same mold as Blue. Again, literally nothing going on here. And what sucks about that is if you buy these guys individually, you get these sound effects to go along with each of these Raptors, which personally to me, again, I think is a little bit of a cooler gimmick. But when you buy them in a set, you lose the gimmick, And then you get this new one that only works with one of the raptors, which is personally a little bit of a letdown. And then bringing in the gals for a closer look, we're going to start with Blue here, which actually I overall kind of like the sculpt for this figure, because especially for the head, looks really gnarly, where she has this nice roar look to her. She's looking very fierce and about ready to pounce on somebody. Really like the posture that she has going on. Her mouth is freaking ginormous. So like, that is one wide gap that she has going on here. Really actually like the paint job on the teeth. Overall doesn't really turn out all that bad. You can see here for the ton definition, looks really good. Even has a little bit of details on the roof of the mouth here. And then for her eyes, look very nice, very Viper-esque with the very thin pupils. Looks really sweet. Overall, her body has this very nice dark green with black stripes and a white tone for her underbelly. And even like the arms actually look pretty nice. Really like the clawed look that she has going on. Overall, very raptor looking, although I don't know if it's just me, but does this snout look freaking huge on these guys? Like, I'm going to call this a beak, and in the film, it didn't seem like it was quite this elongated. And if I get some of my older raptor figures out, you'll kind of notice the same thing going on. It's not like a major deal, but it just seems a little bit over-exaggerated. And then you got also the Jurassic World logo right here on the back of her thigh. And the one thing I actually want to go over that actually bothers me about Blue right here, and pretty much the rest of the raptors that we're going to be going over today. And if you buy these chicks individually, you're not actually going to have this problem, because I noticed they actually are corrected on those figures. But for this set, if you look at the bottom of the feet here, you might notice that there is something that is missing, something that may be key for the Velociraptor. And what this is actually the little hook claw. You'll notice that she doesn't have it. And going over the rest of the figures I'll show you guys, they don't have them either, which is actually really sucks, because that's the whole thing for the Velociraptor is their little hook claw, because otherwise it's kind of just like a really tiny every other dinosaur, you know? And it's just something that is very iconic for these dinosaurs, especially like in the first film where you have Grant terrifying the little kid with the Velociraptor bone. Even shows up in the third film where the kid has like, I got a real one. It's just something that all Velociraptors should have. Like, that's pretty unacceptable in my opinion. It's just makes this guy look pretty plain overall. Because again, the posture looks very nice for this. It's just, that's a huge turnoff for me. And then moving on to Echo here, just because she is literally the exact same mold as Blue, you'll notice, again, no raptor claw. And the only major difference is the eye coloration, which for her is this more brown and yellowish color scheme going on. And the same with the body, overall yellow, some green stripes coming along the back and the tail. And actually nothing really going on in the undersection of the belly here, which kind of gives him a little bit, or her I should say, a little bit less variety. And even the teeth here are actually a little bit more of a yellow shade than what we had with Delta, because hers are a little bit more bone white. So again, overall, like the posture, even though this is the second one we get in the box, it's just, why? And then moving on to Charlie, which is actually my favorite of the postures, where she kind of has this more just normal look, like she's just kind of walking around in the woods, which I actually really like. Like in terms of just standing on the shelf, she looks really good. Other than that, but the head sculpt actually looks really nice, and the over exaggeration of the face here really doesn't put me off all that much here, because the mouth's kind of closed, looks fairly normal. Except they kind of fudged up the paint job on her teeth here. You can see the paint kind of coming across the upper part of the lip here. Same with down here on the bottom. A little bit sloppy, but it's nothing. I've seen worse, trust me. And then you got the paint job on here for the tongue here. A little bit of detail on the under part of the roof of the mouth. Overall, the paint job is dark green and black, kind of the same as what we got with Blue. Same with the Jurassic World here on the back part of the thigh. And overall, the mold looks good. Like, I like all the details here. You get a lot of the skin texture here. Tail has this nice pointed end to it. It's just, God, that raptor claw. I know I'm going to keep bringing this up, but it's just kind of takes away from the whole raptor vibe, you know? Like, other than the head, which is very raptor-esque, that's pretty much the other thing you got going on. And I even noticed, like, when my little brother came over and checked these things out before I actually started doing this review, he's like, hey, Steve, what dinosaur is this? And I'm just like, What's wrong with you? And then moving on to my least favorite out of the 4 raptors, which is Delta. Which this head sculpt is freaking huge, like grabbing one of the other raptors. Bringing back Charlie, you notice that I guess the heads don't really look that much bigger, but it's just the way it's shaped looks really off, especially for the eyes right here. Why do they look very human? Like, they're super dilated looking and just really like off-putting, especially for a raptor again. Like, this is probably the most off-putting of all the figures, especially with the claw and everything. Where even the head sculpt doesn't really even look quite as well. And I think it's just mainly the eyes are the thing that really bugged me about this. But even like the jowls here are freaking ginormous in comparison. Like, you can even barely see them on her. And even on the raptors with the giant open mouth, you notice that their jowls aren't even that huge as well. So it's like, why? You know? Or at least that's what I'm going to call them. I'm not officially sure if that's what they're called, but they're just stupid huge. Although I do like that there's hair on the figure. And also that the tongue actually sticks up a little bit, but it's just, the head sculpt on this guy is definitely the most off-putting of all of them. And the rest of it's just a little bit more of a casual look with a little bit more fierceness look to it. Not quite as fierce as, say, this guy right here. But it still kind of has that overall killer vibe to it. But technically, it's just, I really don't like what they did with the eyes here. And overall, the paint job is this dark brown with this dark gray for the stripes here, which looks pretty good. Again, like, the molds aren't that bad for these. Like, the skin textures look really good. Hands overall aren't that bad. It's just, God, that's one freaking derpy head. And then to go over their articulation real quick, I'll go over this guy because they're pretty much the exact same with all of them. None of them have really any head articulation. You notice there is a little bit of separation here for where the head connects to the body, but no articulation there. None of them have articulation in the mouth. Their arms can move up and down, but that's pretty much about as much as you're going to get. The majority of them, I think, can actually go all the way around, grabbing a couple of them. Yep, that one goes all the way around. You don't quite go all the way around. I think you could probably work it in, but yep. And then for their leg articulation, I noticed on these figures, it's actually a pain in the butt to get these hind legs to actually move. But they can move forward and back, so if you have the same problem where you get the figure out of the packaging and it just, like this leg versus just not wanting to go anywhere, you pretty much just gotta force it in until it gets to move around. But for all these raptors, their hind legs can move forward and back. Even grabbing Delta right here, her legs can go forward, back. Charlie also, again, gotta work this stupid leg joint in, can go forward and back as well. And then that's pretty much it for the articulation on all these raptors. So for a quick comparison, here they are next to the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World, which these guys look freaking huge next to. And here's a game with some older Jurassic Park raptors, which I think that one's from Jurassic Park 3 and the other ones are from the Lost World and Chaos Effect. And just because somebody actually mentioned this guy in the comments the other day and wanted to show they actually have it, here's the Bull Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Lost World Jurassic Park. And finally, here's the raptors with who should have been casted as the Indominus Rex, the 18-inch tall Treadmaster Godzilla in 1998. To be honest, I might just use those guys as baby Godzillas. So overall, with the Velociraptor 4-pack from Jurassic World, this set's a little bit of a letdown for me because initially when I bought this set, it seemed like a really good idea because, especially for the price, you get the 4 raptors that you could buy individually. You save some money, and even though you lose the sound effect gimmick, you get a light up gimmick. But then come to find out, the light up gimmick just really isn't that impressive and only works with the one raptor. And personally, I think it just would have been better just to keep the sound effect with these guys anyways, even if it bumped up the price a little bit. And also what's weird is when you lose the sound effect, you also lose the original raptor leg, so now you get this weird normal dinosaur leg without the raptor claw, which I don't know who had this idea, but they really need to not be listening to that person anymore because it just really takes away from the overall Velociraptor identity. And even though the molded sculpts for the rest of the raptors really aren't that bad, the paint job is a little bit hit and miss with some of the figures looking really good and some of them looking kind of sloppy in my opinion. So personally, I would pass on this set. If you guys are looking to pick up the 4 raptors from Velociraptor, you're just better off buying them individually because you get a way better gimmick. And overall, I think you just get a lot better mileage out of the figures in the long run. So what do you guys think? Have you guys seen Jurassic World? What's your favorite scene from Jurassic World? Is Site B just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. Let us a closer picture of these gals on Facebook. You want to click the link description below. Help us stop those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe to become a ranger today, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye-bye.